I'll give a floor to Dr. Tedros for his opening remarks.
WHO has been assessing this outbreak around the clock, and we're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity and by the alarming levels of inaction. We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Would have been probably early January or late December. I've got a master's degree in biology, and a lot of my buddies are epidemiologists, and they work for drug companies, stuff like that. One of my buddies sent it to me. I am ashamed to admit that I heard about it, and I was like, somebody will get that figured out, and it's never going to affect my life at all. And so I kind of heard about it, and it was like, oh, it's in China, where, Wuhan, but I was doubtful that it would come here. But then obviously it did, and now it's changed everything.
So I remember hearing about it pretty early on, in January, February time frame. I wasn't too concerned with it at first, just mainly because figured it was kind of maybe flu or something like that. So I wasn't really worried about it until they started talking about the other countries actually starting to shut down businesses. When we got close to having to make the decision was late February, and actually looking at shutting down our business too, or waiting for the government, to tell us when we had to close.
Oh, I think we heard about it, in reports in January probably. And my initial reaction was, I wonder how widespread this is going to be, and I looked at it somewhat like the avian bird flu or the swine flu that had preceded it a decade ago and before that, and was hopeful that it could be contained. As it developed, I remember I wrote our bishop in Arkansas and I asked permission to shut down the church. And in that email communication, and I think this was a Thursday, I said, I am not personally willing to take a chance.
This was kind of just, nuts to actually thinking about okay, what do we do if we close? So I remember that being the beginning of March and starting to tell parents, hey, stay tuned, and this could be a real thing that we're going to be shutting down soon. Our business deals with people, coming in, interacting with other people. So we closed before we were forced to close, just because the first thing that's always on our mind is the safety of our people, and we don't want to be, a contributing factor to any of that. The biggest thing that's changed for me is I'm not planning for, the future. I'm not planning next year out right now, and that drives me crazy as a business owner, because I like, working down the line. Our classes were 3 months long or 6 months long, and I'm like, this is month to month. So you're constantly living with that stress of am I going to be open next month? Am I going to be able to keep my guys employed?
To be able to make payroll, we have to be open and sell things, and to be able to buy product, we have to be open and sell things. So we were closed 5 days. So then Melissa and I actually went without pay for 4 weeks, I think it was. 3 or 4 weeks we went without pay. And we paid our employees, we didn't let anybody go. And I guess at the time we thought, well, this is gonna be a couple of months, and we'll make it through. We'll somehow figure this out and make it through. what happened then is all of this like PPP stuff was being touted, and you could get a PPP loan and you could get an EIDL and all this help from the government, but couldn't get our information in time for the first round, and then all of a sudden they ran out of funds. So then we were just we felt like we were sunk. And during that time, that was about a month, and during that time business was very slow. So I would say that was like mid-March to maybe mid-April.
As drastically as it dropped, yeah, we were scared. Once we knew we were going to get the loan and bring people back, I mean, we didn't know. It's come back to some sort of stabilization since during that period, but yeah, for the first month, I was freaking out, like I said, every day. We didn't know how bad it was going to be.
It was kind of tough because my existing clientele basically ran dry. The stuff that they usually had coming in for me just completely stopped. But at the same time, there was a boom in other small businesses who realized their need for a presence on social media and realized their need of photography and video. And so I had a lot of new people coming through to me, whether that be through social media or some other platform. It was a little bit of a balance. I had a good amount of people come to me. I had some churches come to me for advice for live streaming because, I mean, they were scrambling to figure out, like, we can't have people here anymore. How are we going to live stream?
We'd never done online church before at all. We didn't stream live on Facebook Live like some churches do already. A lot of churches already had some experience with this, but we were, in the dark. I was in the dark. What we did that first Sunday was we recorded the service on Saturday and then had it available on YouTube Live that Sunday. The next week we went to Zoom, and that's what we've been doing ever since. Everything went virtual. And that's where it has stayed up until now, and we plan to continue to do that depending on what the infection rate is as we go forward.
No, I really don't. I mean, I don't want to have hubris or seem braggadocious, but it's because it's nothing that I've done, but we are significantly busier, like 2 or 3 times as busy as we typically are. And it's been that way for like several months. But that being said, I don't think it's good. I think coronavirus is bad. And I'm thankful for the hay that we have made off of it, but I know a lot of people are suffering. And ultimately, I would really like to get back to normal.
Running a business in a global pandemic has definitely forced us to adapt. And I think that's one of the things that I've learned. It's those who adapt to the situation and who are resilient, who are really going to make it through and really grow in the process. And it's been really cool to see some of the businesses who have really changed their business model so quickly. And it's been kind of inspiring even for us to run with the punches and to figure it out.
I feel like, big businesses and stuff can kind of hide behind people, right? If I'm letting go somebody that I'm not working with every day or I'm good friends with, and stuff like that, it's like, hey, y'all are gonna have to go on unemployment or whatnot, look for another job. We'll see you as soon as something opens back up. But these are guys that I work with every day. I'm friends with all these guys, and having to tell them, listen, I'm not taking a paycheck anymore. That's the furthest that I could go. The gym's out of money, and so I don't have any other choice but to either cut you to 0 hours or just bare minimum. And so that like it hurts on a personal level. Like, I know that it has to be done for the business to survive. But it's a nightmare for sure.
I think the hardest part actually is not being present with people physically, and especially when they are in some kind of either crisis or, say, a surgery.
After, I think everyone got used to it, we weren't down that much like in May and June, but then as it started to get hotter, people don't want to hang out outside. I think that was a big deal. And then for a while the camps shut down because of COVID, so a lot of those people haven't been in town, which is a lot of our summer clientele. We stayed at a pretty good clip for a while, but we've definitely dipped in July. And I think it's because of the heat. Some places have elected to open up. We elected not to. That's probably hurt us a little bit. We've lost a little because of that, for sure. We went from 400 and plus members and kids training in here, not counting like open gym and all that, to 56. And so if you look at that from like an income level and being able to pay coaches, like I'm also like, I don't pay my coaches minimum wage, you know, I like to make sure that they're paid what they're worth. So I mean, it came to that point to where it was like, I've told them if this keeps up for, you know, any more months, you know, if this a year out from now, I have no confidence that we'll be here. Things are looking better as far as like these classes. People are coming back slowly, realizing like, hey, we can make this happen with living under these, you know, new standards of like safe practice kind of thing. So like right now it's just kind of survival mode, and it's like, hey, we're all gonna have to hurt together so that we can all be here next year.
I have learned that nothing is predictable. And I think really that there isn't any way to predict what is going to happen with that virus, with our business, with just nothing is predictable. And I have seen a lot of goodness in people. Just a lot of kindness. Just an outpouring almost.
I think people enjoy human connection more than they thought they did. I think we you know, the people used to be like, oh, well, no, people don't actually socialize. They just go get on, you know, whatever, Twitter. I think people have really been without human connection so long that they're starting to like, oh, well, this is actually important. And getting out and group riding and stuff is important. I think maybe we're seeing a resurgence of people wanting to spend time with other people.
Help the people where you can. Help your community where you can. Everybody do their part. Yes, we all want to, when things start getting bad, is like huddle up, save all my money. But it's like if you have the means or have the like ability to like help out local shops and businesses and stuff like that, like this is not going to like crazy profits to where, you know, I'm taking like $1 million kick out or anything like that. You know, it's like most of these businesses, like this is how we feed our families. This is how my coaches pay their rent, you know, stuff like that. So every dollar that comes in is going directly to benefiting people. If you're just willing to adapt and roll with the punches and be flexible, you can be creative and keep going through anything. I mean, small business owner for almost 9 years, so I kind of already knew that, but we had never been faced with anything like this. So yeah, you really find out what your strengths and weaknesses are.
You really see who people are when you add an aspect of fear to their lives. And personally, you can let that fear control you, or you can take a look at it, analyze it, and move on.
I've learned not to take for granted the time that I have with people. There's always time that I can take time to be with someone and not be in such a rush to go on to the next thing, because, you know, the pandemic has limited my ability to be able to be with people, and I've really missed that and realized how important that is.
Local businesses need you now more than ever. You don't have to come every day, just spread it out, go everywhere. Skip your corporate places and go local. if you take those people out of the equation of the economy, it gets pretty bland. That's where all your character comes from. So. You'll miss us if we're gone.
Anyway, it's what it is. I don't know what else to do other than go forward. You know.